There's a few reasons why I think he walked away. Number one, of course, the threat of Tom Aspinall. That's just a fact, right? We know he's big, agile, fast, quick. The man can do it all. He's incredible. He's a finisher, yada, yada, yada. You know all that. That's part of it, okay? Then you factor in the money, okay, right? He's made plenty of it. But the fact that he walked away from the biggest payday of his career, I don't understand that, right? So there would have been no shame if he fought Tom Aspinall, went out there, took the paycheck, got paid, and went out and fought like a man on his shield, okay? Didn't get the job done. Oh, well, but I tried. People would have had respect and said, look at what he did throughout the entirety of his career, though. Still one of the greatest ever. He didn't want to do that. Maybe it's because of the lawsuit next month. He's going to get paid $6 or $7 million. Maybe retiring undefeated is more valuable. Maybe he can trade on that going forward. But then, of course, we find out about this police situation, which is absolutely crazy.
Do you think his retirement and his announcement of retirement had anything to do with what's going on with him legally?
That I don't. I wish I knew. I don't. It seems odd, because of the whole thing of he was talking about being the person that held the heavyweight title the longest. He had talked a little bit about that because Cain Velasquez is the guy that has that right now. He was only, let's say, 50, 60 days away. I don't think that he deserved it. I'm going to say that right there based upon he defended the title one time. 860 days and you defended it one time. Come on. No, you got to defend the title. But, there was that, and that was, something that people had talked about that, he wanted it. Okay, maybe he did, maybe he didn't. But I just look at it and you go, it's odd that all of a sudden, after he had basically agreed to the fight, he comes out and says, just when that thing pops in the media, I'm retired.
Yeah.
So it might have had something to do with it.
In the midst of all this, as Jon says, I'm out, he's openly campaigning for a Francis fight. In November, after beating Stipe, he's openly campaigning for an Alex Pereira fight. So if you sit here and say, Jon just didn't want to fight anymore, you're not being truthful. You're not telling the full story. Jon Jones retired because of Tom Aspinall. Jon Jones retired because of the presence of Tom Aspinall. Jon Jones retired because he did not want to fight Tom Aspinall. That is an unequivocal fact. Jon Jones will tell you that the reason he retired is because Tom Aspinall isn't a big enough name and there's no one else for him to fight. No, Jon Jones retired because he did not want to fight Tom Aspinall and because there was a threat of Tom beating him, and there's a lot of equity, there's a lot of value in retiring undefeated. And so, hey, we made our money, we're getting a boatload to do Russian reality shows, let's just walk away.
Very similar situation though, which makes me kind of think, when you're talking about like being scared, remember how he waited and waited and waited with the Francis Ngannou thing? Then as soon as Francis left and they didn't get the deal done, it was like he came and he fought. It is a weird vibe. Like he said, like, okay, look, yeah, whatever. He fights Cyril Gane. Cyril Gane, knows he has no takedown defense. Yeah, takes the takedown, gets the submission right away. Then he waits and waits and waits.
Another 2 years
to fight a 42-year-old.
Yeah,
and not the waiting. Remember, he got injured, but then during that time, they crowned the interim champion, all this other stuff. But that being said, as soon as he was healthy, he could have fought, and then he fought Stipe. He could fight again. It wasn't like he took any damage in that fight.
I'm speculating here. I do not know. I don't have any inside information. What do I think? I think that Jon Jones has always kind of struggled with the discipline aspect of the sport and how he approaches it. Talent, it's unquestioned. He has been blessed with an insane amount of talent, and that has often got him through some very difficult times, through camps, I'm sure, and through fights themselves. We have seen that. But because you are blessed with so much talent, sometimes discipline and putting in that hard work can be a difficult aspect to it. It's paradoxical in a lot of ways. And I think that for Jon Jones, having that time away from the sport, I wonder if he started questioning some of the hunger and his willingness to train. He had said that he wasn't training for a very long time. That was kind of the signs where I kind of was scratching my head wondering, is this fight going to happen? And I think he probably felt that, hey, I'm not going to be training anytime soon. I'm not sure I really want to train. And if I'm fighting someone like Tom Aspinall, right, you need that hunger. You need that time in the gym.
I told you guys,
When you are 37, 38, 39, it's much different looking in the mirror than you are at 28, 29 years old, like he was when he was fighting us. You're a different human being, especially when you've lived a pretty hard life, or a life where you enjoy the spoils that come with being the world champion. And there are a lot of things that come with being the world champion. It's a matter of what you choose to partake in. When Jon and I fought the first time, he was partaking in some stuff. So it seems as though he's lived a pretty fun life. And you got a young, hungry champion that goes, I want to kick this dude's ass, especially when you know you've got millions of dollars in the bank. You're doing very well. You just bought a brand new, beautiful home in Albuquerque, but you know what it takes. You know what you went through to beat me. You know what you went through to beat Stipe. You know what you went through to beat Gustafsson. You know what it took to get there, but you don't have that desire to do so. So he walked away.
And so if you're a Jon Jones and you're like, look, I've seen Tom Aspinall fight, but I've got like a total of 7 minutes or 6 minutes of his footage. That's it. Like, that's not a big enough sample size to see what he'd be good at. And so for Jon, I think he's just, it could be that. The other thing that could, this is something that Alan Jubon brought up on X, and it's a very valid point. Why would I fight knowing that I'm already considered to be the GOAT by most people? Most people consider him the GOAT. Why would I take a chance and lose to Tom Aspinall at heavyweight? And I'm going to be collecting a probably $3 to $5 million check from this class action lawsuit. I literally don't have to work and I get paid. He's going to collect $3 to $5 million. I mean, maybe even more. Maybe even more. But he's gonna get a pretty damn big chunk of that money. And when he does, he's got that plus the money he's made from the Cyril Gane fight and from the Stipe fight. I mean, if I'm thinking to myself, he's like, I don't gotta train for this guy. Let him fight, and if I want to come back, I'll come back.
But I think when you factor in the money that he's made so far, apparently from this lawsuit next month, he's gonna get like $7 million. So there's another $7 million that he's going to get.
Yeah.
I think when you factor in that he says he hasn't trained since last November, he's flying around the world, living his best life. He's enjoying himself. He's partying, you know. Historically, he's always been a bit of a party animal. I can't judge him for that. You know, we all like to enjoy ourselves and unwind, and whatever you like to do in your spare time, fair play. He's always shown up. He's always won his fights. But I think when you combine all of that, and then you combine it with what just came out, this latest incident in Albuquerque with the police involved, and we'll get into that in a second. I think you put all of it into it, is like, you know what? I don't need the stress of preparing for Tom Aspinall. I've got the money, I've had the career, and all the rest. I guess the real question is, will his legacy be affected? And I think by new Johnny-come-lately fans, it will. I think more OG fans of the sport will always know what he did. But it's not a great way to end potentially the greatest career.
You know, we were kind of led on here, right? It seemed like Jon Jones was about it. You know, if we are to believe that this fight was, I guess, agreed upon verbally, that there was a point where he wanted to continue fighting and, you know, got people excited and then upset, and then excited, then upset. And here we are, and now it seems like he wants to retire.
I told you months ago, the UFC wanted to make this fight. They did everything in their power to make this fight. Jon Jones asked for $30 million. They didn't want to give him $30 million. They negotiated. I heard from one source that even Turkey got involved. He wanted to make the fight. They eventually got to the $30 million. Jon said he was in. A couple days later, he said he was out. And once he said he was out, he was never back in. And that's now 2-3 months ago. Why they waited so long? As we told you a million times, they were holding out hope that they could convince him, and until they had to pull the trigger, they didn't feel like they had to make any kind of announcement.